this is a program on diaspora and migration studies. It gives me a great pleasure in this context to introduce two of our guests from China, Fu Bai Lu, Rekha, who's to my extreme right, and Professor Rakesh Vats, who was here in IGNOU for a considerable number of years and now is teaching in Xi'an University in China. Rekha is studying Hindi at the local Jawaharlal Nehru University, and Professor Vats is a teacher of Hindi at the Xi'an University in China. The information or the studies on China tend to be either too esoteric for our students or even for some of our teachers and researchers, and we hardly know them as people, as persons, as how they are feeling being in China. Like even our friend Professor Vats, who is in China, how has it been for him the last 10 years as a Indian diaspora in China? And for Rekha, who is here in local Jawaharlal Nehru University, how is she feeling here? How's her experience of studies been? These are, of course, the ground level questions. But let me start by being a little more, adventurous and ask Professor Vats, with whom we have been talking, all of us have been talking for last so many years about this experience of globalization, of our university being constituted in the context of that globalization, the kind of experiences we have undergone since 1990s. And then this wonderful opportunity came to Dr. Vats for going and seeing all the changes which are happening in a neighboring country firsthand. आपको कैसा लगा जब आप when you had the first hand opportunity to observe the changes taking place in China at a time when the Chinese economy was just peaking and it was coming to some kind of a maturity, and comparatively in India you had gone away with a very disappointed kind of an impression that Indians have not been able to make the kind of progress which Chinese seem to be making. Do you still have the same impression, or do you think things are different? Number one. Number two, educationally, how has it been for you? You experienced IGNOU firsthand. You experienced the pangs and the problems of being in a new university which was trying to establish some kind of an educational focus in the context of globalization. How has that experience been compared to what has happened in China for last so many years?
So let me share my experience first. 10 years ago, when I got a chance to go to Peking University in Beijing to teach Hindi. And that time, I think in India, most of us, including you and our friends, we knew very little about China. All our information was very superficial. And one of our colleagues in the university told me, if you are a vegetarian, and if you don't know Chinese, you cannot survive there. And it was a challenge, and it's so big countries sitting side by side for thousands of years. We had so much cultural history, but in present era, we knew very little about each other. So I wanted to go there and then wanted to experience what it's in being in China. So when I went there in Peking University, I faced the immediate problem of a language. That if you don't know Chinese, it's very difficult to interact, because Chinese have a proud of their own language, Mandarin. They don't speak in English. Everything is done in Chinese. So 2 years which I spent in Peking University, this was a handicap. My students helped me to go out and meet people. And when I came back, so I was not happy, I was not satisfied, because I knew very little about China, even being there for 2.5 years. Fortunately, I got an opportunity to work in a China Radio International. So I spent 6 years there. Then my real journey of China started, and it was a remarkable journey. And I have very enriched myself with the experiences there, which I will share gradually. But first I want to say that you said economy, all other aspects also, if we see them. So there was a remarkable, development in China. If we compare with India, so it's very difficult to compare with India, because we live in two different systems, and here we have problems and we have excuses. In China, we have a problem, then we have a solution. As far as education is concerned, they concentrate on education. The student's job is to study in the university, focus on their majors, and they qualify and they contribute to the welfare of the society and development of the country. But here we see the education per se Earlier it was very good. We used to say now in a world 100 top educational institutes where India comes. We don't stand anywhere. So actually it's not education. In India, all the institutions, they degraded themselves. The whole system seems to be collapsing. It's under its own weight. And we don't find any solution right now.
Now quickly to you, Rekha. I'll keep calling you Rekha. Fu Baidu, of course, is your Chinese name. मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि डॉक्टर वत्स का इम्प्रेशन है और ये आपके चाइना में टीचर भी हैं, और इनका इम्प्रेशन है कि जो इंडिया में जो एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, आप 2 इंस्टीट्यूशन है तो आप पढ़ चुके हैं, वर्धा में शायद पढ़ चुके हैं और जवाहरलाल नेहरू यूनिवर्सिटी में, तो आपका क्या इम्प्रेशन है? क्या इतनी बुरी स्थिति है जो डॉक्टर वत्स कह रहे हैं?
2 साल के पहले मैं महाराष्ट्र वर्धा में वहां पढ़ी हिंदी। उस समय मेरे लिए एक बहुत बड़ी दिक्कत है। हमारे पास पाठ्य पुस्तक नहीं है, टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं है, तो टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं है तो कैसे पढ़ाई चलेगी? तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या है हमारे लिए। मुझे लगता है कि जब सर हमारे अध्यापक कक्षा में पढ़ रहे हैं, हम बिल्कुल कंसंट्रेट होना चाहिए। हम नोट्स 100% लिखना चाहिए। दूसरे ये है कि JNU में पढ़ना मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा सा आराम चल रहा है। मैं ऐसा कहती हूँ क्योंकि जब मैं जिम में BA कर रही थी, उस समय एक हफ्ते में 20 घंटे की पढ़ाई है, लेकिन JNU में बहुत कम है जिनकी अपेक्षा। इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि इतने मेहनत की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है। हाँ, ठीक ठाक आराम से बढ़ सकते हो।
आपकी पढ़ाई का मतलब किस तरह से रूप था? आप 20 घंटे क्यों लगाते थे पढ़ाई में? किस तरह का आपके डिमांड्स? क्या एग्जामिनेशन ज्यादा होते थे? क्या आपके ऊपर ज्यादा रीडिंग्स का भार था? क्या एग्जैक्टली था? क्योंकि JNU में भी तो लोग काफी मतलब बड़ी रीडिंग लिस्ट आपको टीचर देते हैं, आपकी क्लासेस होती हैं, आपको ट्यूटोरियल लिखने पड़ते हैं, आपको अपना हर 2 हफ्ते में आपको प्रेजेंटेशन करना पड़ता है। तो ये तो भार तो रहता ही है। तो इस अपेक्षा में कैसे, मतलब नानजिंग में कैसे आपके ऊपर प्रेशर था?
जब मैं शीएम में BA कर रही थी, उस समय मुझे लगता है कि कक्षा समय बहुत है, बाकी समय कम है।
आपको शीएम में हुआ?
हाँ, खुद पढ़ने की समय बहुत कम है। लेकिन JNU में तो कक्षा समय कम है, लेकिन खुद के लिए पढ़ने के समय ज्यादा है। मुझे लगता है कि ये एजुकेशन का अलग अलग स्टाइल है। जब मैं शुरुआत में मैं पढ़ी थी, उस समय थोड़ा सा I cannot get used to this style of teaching, but लेकिन अभी मुझे लगता है कि ठीक ठाक, क्योंकि अगर खुद के लिए ज्यादा समय है तो मैं ज्यादा बढ़ सकती हूँ कक्षा के अलावा।
तो आपका बेसिकली कहना है कि कक्षा की पढ़ाई का भार आपका ज़ियान में ज्यादा था और यहाँ JNU में कम है।
हाँ, कम है।
और लेकिन आपके ऊपर उतनी ही अपेक्षाएं हैं कि आपको उतना ही काम करना पड़ेगा। आप यदि लाइब्रेरी में जाएं, आपको थोड़ा फ्रीडम ज्यादा है, थोड़ी स्वतंत्रता, थोड़ा स्वतंत्रता ज्यादा है कि किस तरह से आप अपनी पढ़ाई ऑर्गेनाइज करें। तो ये आपको बेहतर लगता है पढ़ाई करने का तरीका, या आपको बेहतर लगता है कि आप केवल क्लासरूम में घंटों तक बैठें और टीचर को सुने?
ऐसा है।
हाँ।
मुझे लगता है कि जब विद्यार्थी उसकी उम्र बड़ी नहीं है, they cannot control themselves to focus on the study.
Okay.
So you should give them more time on the classes.
Okay.
So after this time, when I am doing my MA, so मैं बड़ी होगी, हाँ, I can control myself.
Okay.
So after the classes, I can manage everything for me, such as go to the library, and in the hostel I can also read some novels and talk with my friends.
That's a good thing in the sense
Yes.
because obviously you can't study all those books without talking about them to somebody.
Yes.
So I mean, just or even hearing one classroom lecture all the time will not help you grasp what the books say. So that element of freedom might be playing a role in your grasping things better.
In China, the education system which I observed there, from the primary school till a university, the focus is there, and most of the students, they have to live in a school hostels. And another is that Chinese society is not a caste-based society. So the students, when they live together, go to class together, study together, they don't have this complex that he is from a rich family, I come from a poor family, he has a car, I don't have. Almost all the students I saw them, they have the similar background. They don't have this, and they don't have any caste. So it's not that he's Brahman or he's coming from a Vaishya or other. So these things gives them a clarity of mind and similar, aspirations. So they don't have complexes there, which we have in our society, which increasing day by day, which I feel here.
Okay, they have increased here.
Yeah, and studying in a hostel or in a university, the system believes that the student's primary job is to learn and prepare himself or herself for the future.
Okay.
So they more pay attention to the education. Education is not only that if she is doing major in a Xi'an, then she is studying only Hindi. No, she has to study some other essential subjects also with them, which is necessary today, like a computer, English, or a physical education, history or Chinese history or culture. They are all part of that major. Everyone has to do that. And living in India in a hostel, if we see our university, sometimes we live alone in a room, sometimes we share. But in China, one room is shared by minimum 6 students and maximum 8 students.
At all levels?
At all levels.
Okay.
You have one small 10 by 10 rooms and you have 8 beds, like a berth in a railway compartment, and you have to live there together. And there are some other restrictions also imposed on schools, university and colleges, that in the evening, 11 o'clock at night, the light will turn off. You have to go to sleep. In the morning, 6 o'clock, light will come and you have to wake up. They will not allow you to waste your time at night after 11 on the name of a freedom or name of intellectual freedom, that no, I can only study at 1 o'clock at night. No. You have to use your daytime after classroom, go to library, study, go to mess, eat, and at night you have to sleep.
Okay.
You have to do that there. And students follow from the primary school till the university. And even the facilities you use in the university and colleges, for example, the water you use to drink or to take shower, you have to pay that. Every student have to pay equal money, whatever water, electricity they use. Nothing comes free in China.
Okay.
So when I see my own experiences, I studied in India in the universities, and water and electricity, no one cares. That if the tap is on, it's okay. Who cares? Electricity, we use all heaters and whatever, means it was a free for all.
Okay.
That money comes from a taxpayers' money, and we misuse. I have that feeling.
Okay.
Another aspect in education, I see that in India, on the name of our freedom of expression or human rights, the student most often, and teachers also, they go on strike. We don't realize that if we want to develop as a society, as a country in today's world, we cannot waste our time. We can't waste our resources. What happens finally? You see the JNU expression. I went JNU other day to meet her. I saw that there is some demonstration on some Cuba or some Israel on that. So JNU tries to give student an intellectual, or you can say feed, or they try to give them a freedom to become a global citizen and have a concern about all those global. But when you step out from JNU after 4 or 5 years, what happens? You find yourself in Indian society completely misfit. Because you have to deal with a day-to-day problem. You have to hunt for a job, which doesn't come so easily, and you have to do all those things which you are not ready as a student or as a young person. Then your dreams and whatever you learned, you start disbelieving that.
The transition is easier.
Transition is very easy. Why I say so? Because from high school onwards, during your winter and summer vacation, all the students, they get a chance, or they try by themselves, go to the countryside and do part-time jobs. They first hand, they experience the life in a villages, how people live there. They help them and they tell them how to do things, what they know, and they also learn from them what their life is. similar things happen in a college and a university. Once you are graduate, you are not just a bookish knowledge you have come out with. You know overall what's happening. Second, what they do part-time jobs. They learn how the life is going to deal with them after they come out of the educational institutes.
So what you are saying effectively is that this kind of a lifestyle on campuses basically facilitates a easier transition into the world outside, into the economic world, let's say, outside. Because that's the world you're talking about. I mean, what you are saying is that apart from the economic world, there's no other world, effectively, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a point which is coming out very strongly from what you said. Okay. Number two, what you are saying is that discipline they learn on campuses basically helps them to make the transition. I would rather look at it this way, that look, you have seen there is a certain element of freedom to organize your studies. Okay, you have minimum exposure to classrooms, and you have a freedom to organize the way at what time you want to go to the library. Libraries are open till 12, 1, in fact even all night now.
Yeah.
And then there is this freedom that basically, okay, you might sleep say for 3 hours or 4 hours in the afternoon, or maybe till late in the evening. But then you have the facility that from after having your dinner, from 8 to 12 you are in your library. That kind of a flexibility of organizing your study life is there. Secondly, this aspects of demonstrations, participating in the wider issues, which might be taking you away from reality a little. But maybe even if the transition is very hard, since you're not yet making the transition, you just started the university career at an MA level now in India. But maybe in my submission to Dr. Vats is this, that even if the transition is hard, maybe it's a bigger learning experience. Maybe it prepares you for a learning experience, which is, to do with the fact that, we are still, as compared to China, we are still in a much more transitional phase. How are they looking at this process? I mean, are there very many anxieties about what future is all going to be? I mean, for some of them, maybe it's not, some of them might have assured plans, but some of them might be feeling anxious about what they will do after doing an MA, what they will do, what kind of a career path they will take up.
Okay.
And they must be also wondering amongst themselves whether this is the right kind of education they get. Everybody questions it in the process, especially places like Jawaharlal Nehru University or universities which go for postgraduate education. As a Chinese student in India who has experienced the assured career paths or assured transitions in China, when you see this kind of a bit of a flexibility, when you see the flexibility in terms of the way you can study, the flexibility of organizing your life the way you want. Number three, the uncertainty alongside which you are facing, which Dr. Vats was talking about. How do you look at these things?
My Indian friends is not too much because I just stay here for 1 semester.
Quite.
But the Indians who I know, most of them are my classmates. They are studying in Hindi, MA. Sometimes I ask them, when you graduate from MA in JU, what will you do?
Yeah.
The answer is, I don't know why. It's coincidence? I don't know. But most of them want to be a professor.
That's it.
I don't know. Maybe if in China, the students have so many choices after the graduation. Such as me. If I graduate, I can do as a teacher in China. I can do a translator in a company. I can also do the business. I can also be in administration in a company. I can also go to the embassy to be a translation, to get a translation work. So people have so many choices after them graduation.
Awesome.
But I don't know why all my classmates, all of them, want to be a professor. And I asked them then, so will you do the MPhil in India? They said, yes, I will. So I keep asking, so after MPhil, what will you want to do? PhD. So I don't know why after the MA, they don't want to take some real experience in the society, such do some part-time job or give them just a chance to feel the real society, what it's like, and maybe it's a different ideas about the future, but I think the freedom which the Indian give them and the campus give them, they could use them better.
Okay.
Not in a small space. They can keep thinking what about the future they will face. They always be optimistic. I don't know, because in China, every student, we have our BA program is 4 years. After the third year, we are so anxious about our future. We're hunting for the jobs to find some chance to practice ourselves, to get ready to go to the society.
This is very important because in India, our major, like a Hindi, she said they want to become professor. In China, major essentially has nothing to do with your job. Means if you are a Hindi major, it doesn't mean that you are going to find a job only in a Hindi area. No, the companies will take you. Means the Chinese education system prepare you with different majors, but you are capable, you are able to do everything now. You are ready to learn after graduation.
What is the input which goes in, or what is the experience in the education institution which goes in China?
See,
so you have been teaching postgraduate.
Yeah, like she said, that after third year, in a graduation we are talking, undergraduate students. After third year, every student, everyone is worried what he or she is going to do next 4 years.
Okay.
Because they are looking for a job. And they will get a job essentially after that. And they go for training, they go for some experience. So I think it's a little different from what we have in India. Maybe our society doesn't provide that kind of opportunities to all the students, those who come out of an educational institute. We have a different system over here.
No, so the point both of you are making is that the Chinese students within the Chinese institutions are more tuned into the economic opportunities which are available to them after they complete their degree.
What is you're talking about economic opportunity?
As compared,
if you don't have something to eat, how you will survive? That's the basics. So job is very important for a student, whatever you study. If you don't have a job, all your education, whatever, it goes to the dustbin. That is basic. That is if you don't have a job after doing PhD, what you will do then?
I take your point.
You can't do research. You have to find a job first. After that, you can do what you want to do. And as far as higher education is concerned, now Chinese research paper, you can see the data, they are contributing a lot.
I was only trying to make a distinction. I mean, in the way things were being perceived in China and here. And probably I'm just taking the case of JNU as an example because Rekha happens to be from JNU.
And you too.
And I have a past in JNU. That's it. Okay. No, but that's the point which I'm trying to, I'm just trying to delineate, because this is our familiarizing lecture, introductory lecture. I'm just trying to delineate how the two systems are looking at these two things. Right. And to me, it seems that the students, say, for example, who are studying in the Jawaharlal University or universities of that kind, are prepared to face a far more uncertain future as compared to, or especially at a time when they're studying. I don't know what happens after that, but at a time when they're studying, they're prepared to be a little more uncertain about the future, which is coupled with some freedom to organize their studies the way they want to organize. Okay, as compared to the Chinese student who go through a more, let's say, a kind of a training which is more oriented towards giving them jobs and opportunities in the economy immediately after as they pass out.
No, we missed one point. One point we missed actually.
Okay.
In a university education in China, they too have that exposure to the world issues. They have their associations, they deal, they have seminars, they debate. Yes, that they have different associations. They learn how to. Even they have a United Nations body, their students' body. So they have that exposure there also.
Very much within that disciplinary paradigm.
Yeah, sure.
This is the point you had been emphasizing, isn't it? as compared to the fact that that disciplinary paradigm might not exist in the university in which you are studying. Because then, in that context, I'm just trying to make a differentiation. There is a level of uncertainty with which a student in an Indian university lives. Of course, he or she also wants a job. I'm not denying that. But the tuning in of the educational system in China is more towards the job. This is the point which I'm getting from both of your arguments. Okay.
Agree.
Now, whether this works for good or bad is a value judgment, number one. Number two, also it's a different question depending on the individual choices people make.
Right.
But we can safely make this kind of a delineation.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you said, for example, in the hostels, they share 8 a room.
Right.
Then there's a discipline, this thing, at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, everybody has to sleep.
Yes.
Whether you're a PhD student or you're a BA student
That's
or
right.
whatever. As compared to the example of Jawaharlal Nehru University which we had, where there was comparatively little more freedom. So to me, we need to, at this stage of this discussion, as we are winding up this discussion, these two differences we need to place squarely in front of our audience and our students. That the Indian students in the Indian universities tend to be far more faced with uncertainty or are used to handling that uncertainty, and which our friends from China are experiencing. They have seen that in first hand, and they find this as a different feature, and that's a part of their diaspora experience here. Whereas as a part of your diaspora experience in China, you have acknowledged that it is the disciplinary or a more disciplined kind of a approach towards university or educational life, which probably facilitates their transition into economy in a better manner. Okay, so that in that sense, China seems to be more tuned, or Chinese educational institutions seem to be more tuned into the economy than the Indian institutions, especially the state-funded ones like the JNU and so on. Thank you.